Poker scene is a mix of tradition, innovation, and emerging talents that keep on captivating players all over the world. Despite the recent rise of new young players, especially online, iconic figures keep on dragging attention from medias and fans. Speaking of iconic figures, today we will dive into the story of Daniel Negreanu, one of the most influential and best poker players of all time. We will discover how this young hustler from Toronto made his way from a regular guy to one of the most influential and best poker players of all time. Daniel was born in Toronto in 1974 to Romanian immigrant parents. His parents left communist Romania in the 60s to seek for a better life in Canada. He grew up in a modest home, his parents working hard to support his family. He describes himself as a curious and competitive child who loves board games and the skill it involves. His childhood was marked by an early passion for numbers and card games. Poker really enters his life as a teenager when he discovers the game in private clubs in Toronto. He quickly develops a passion for the game and he begins reading everything he can about the subject. At only 16, he already starts dreaming about becoming a professional poker player and he leaves high school to pursue his dreams. He took his first steps in real Toronto casinos. He starts to play well, but he still has some financial difficulties. At 21, full of life and determined to pursue his dreams, he decides to move to Vegas, the gambling capital of the world. But the first attempt proves difficult and he's forced to go back to Toronto after he loses almost all his savings. But this setback does not discourage him. Back in Toronto, he plays home games and in small casinos to make some money back. He starts to play in tournaments as well as in cash games, and he starts to drag a lot of attention when he wins a scoop on PokerStars.com in 1996. But he definitely prefers to play live poker. One of his greatest strengths is his ability to read opponents during live ends. A skill that helps him anticipate the moves of his opponents and that proves to be often right. He is known as an aggressive player and he uses psychological techniques to read his opponents. Also known for his highly adaptive playing style, he knows well how to switch and when to switch from an aggressive to a more cautious one. He's able to vary strategies in a way that makes him unpredictable, making it tough for his opponents to adapt to his playing style. Negreanu is a great fan of so-called small ball poker, which is a playing style that likes to play more small pots rather than the big ones. The goal is to minimize losses and maximize the winnings by using smaller raises and betting more often to keep pressure on your opponents. This playing style favors people with very good reading ability like Daniel Negreanu and that can adapt well like Daniel Negreanu. In tournaments, another feature of Negreanu's playstyle is his careful handling of his stack. He knows when to take a conservative approach and when people are not bluffing enough, and when to take calculated risks to increase his chip stacks. This ability allows him to stay longer in tournaments, therefore making him cash more. Negreanu also uses psychology and communication as a tool at the poker table. He's often very talkative, engaging in many conversations with his opponent. He does that to destabilize them or get reads on them, because everybody's giving way too many reads when they talk at poker. This communicative playstyle allows him to better read the mood of his opponent and therefore adapt to him once again. Although Negreanu is an excellent cash game player, after a few years he marks a preference for tournaments. His playing style, as we just talked about, helps him adapt really well in tournaments where blinds increase and players get busted, so pressure and dynamics often change within an hour, so you need to adapt real fast. Finally, although Negreanu is often more linked to a more intuitive approach, he masters really well the mathematical aspects of the game. He uses these concepts as well as his instincts to often make the right decision on the felt. In summary, Daniel Negreanu is a really good blend of intuition, adaptability, and a deep understanding of the game, which makes him an excellent poker player. In 1998, at age 24, he becomes the youngest player to win a bracelet in Limit Hold'em, finally making him one of the greatest. This success and his charismatic personality both laid great foundations for his poker career. Combined with his talents, this allowed him to become an icon of poker at such a young age. The 2000s are a golden era for Dinek's career, as he accumulates several wins in WSOP events. In 2004, he is awarded Player of the Year by the Cards Player magazine for the WSOP, a recognition that highlights his status as an elite poker player. During that time, he was a pioneer too for the popularization of poker, which helps popularize the game to an even wider audience. His unique play style and as he is very talkative, that worked really well on TV. In 2007, he became the first player to exceed 10 million US dollars in live tournament winnings. As one of the biggest figures in poker, he often was under the fire of the medias or the players. He has often been criticized for his frank opinions on social media, especially about poker and his ruling. We'll remember the more rake is better affair.
If the rake is too high for the good players, what you're left with is bad players who are going to lose, but they're losing less per 100 hands than they would be if the pros were playing with them. So, you know, there's a lot of games where that's true, where the rake is really high and it keeps pros away because they're like, well, we can't beat this. But overall, for the game, it's actually better because pros aren't playing. So nobody's like, so they're losing the rake money, which is going to be more, but they're not losing as much. They're basically passing the money around, you know?
Yeah.
In recent years, Negreanu started to play even on the biggest high rollers like 25k and more, where he has sometimes experienced uneven results. Competing against the best players, often youngers, was a real challenge. Before that year, he even has gone many years without winning a bracelet, but we'll come back to that later. A period that has been marked by frustration and criticism about his ability to keep playing at the highest level. For many years, Daniel Negreanu was one of the main ambassadors for PokerStars, the world's largest online poker platform at that time. However, in 2019, after more than a decade of collaboration, he decided to break the contract. This departure was surrounded by speculation around the site's management and the rake structure. Many players were criticizing the rake policy and the platform. This separation was the end of an era, and it was a real challenge as he had to redefine who he wanted to be without the support of such a big site. Daniel Negreanu has written several books that became references back in the days for young players looking to improve their games. These books provide insights from his strategy and philosophy about the game. It also gives advices from his personal experience. For example, Hold'em Wisdom for Players, published in 2007. That book consists of 50 chapters, each covering a special trick or strategy. The advices range from basics like hand selections pre-flop to very advanced like reading poker tells, bluffing in complicated river spots and everything. Negreanu adopts a direct and easy to follow tone that makes this book perfect for all beginners to improve their games and get into what it is to be good at the game. He also wrote Power Hold'em Strategy, published in 2008. This book is one of Daniel Negreanu's best known works. This book is often compared to Doyle Brunson's Super System for its comprehensive approach to the game. It is a strategic guide for No Limit Texas Hold'em, written mainly by Daniel Negreanu, but also by many known players back in the days. He presents in it the strategy that we just talked about of small ball poker. This book will be useful for intermediates to very good players, unlike the previous one. In addition to his books, Dinex wrote some things too in magazines and in specialist sites like Poker Player Magazine or Card Player Magazine, where he often shares his thoughts on strategies, evolution of the game, and his experience in the live circuit. Negreanu has also produced digital contents like blogs or masterclasses online. He has created a list of tutorials and videos on YouTube explaining many aspects about poker and variants. On platforms such as Masterclass, he helps people develop winning strategies and talks about the psychological aspects of poker too. He's very active on social media too, including Twitter and Instagram. He frequently engages in debates here with fans and other players. He's always the first to give his opinion on many things, answer questions, give advices. By using these channels, Negreanu reaches a wide audience and offers an accessible and ongoing form of mentoring to those who seek to learn from him. His direct style and sense of humor make his teaching attractive and easy to follow. But what about nowadays, you're gonna ask? Well, he still continues to compete in many events such as the WSOP or some WPTs. We saw him in the WSOP Europe too a few years ago. In 2023, we saw him make several deep runs in Poker Gold Cups tournaments or even in the WSOP. He made several final tables, but no bracelets, and that's really one of his main goals. In 2024, after 11 years without winning a bracelet, he finally won the 50k PPC, and that is the one tournament he absolutely wanted to win once in his career. That's one of the most prestigious tournaments poker has to offer. First, of his buy-in, that's a 50k, that's a good amount of money. And second, it brings together almost all the best players of mixed games, such as Phil Ivey, Chris Brewer, Jungleman, Dan Cates that won it twice in a row. For that tournament, many benefits. He won 1.2 million. He broke an 11-year streak of not winning a bracelet, and he surpassed Antonio Esfandiari for the guy with the most cash won at the WSOP with almost 22.5 million now. He remains very active on his social media platforms such as Instagram or YouTube, where he gave us one daily vlog for, I think it's been 5 years now, for the WSOP, where he gives us daily updates and live updates in his tournaments, such as end breakdowns or chip counts in live. And the vlogs are really appreciated. I mean, if you didn't see the ones during the PPC this year, they're really interesting to watch. He also streams more nowadays, often his tournaments playing on GG Poker. GG Poker, the site that has been an ambassador since 2019 that he left PokerStars. He really plays a key role designing site's features, designing tools for recreational players to make them play in a good environment for them. He also uses his position to promote charity tournaments or special events. On a more personal level, he often shares with the fans on YouTube moments of his life, including stories with his wife since 2019, Amanda Leatherman, and moments of his life outside of the poker tables. He remains very open about his personal interests, including having a healthy lifestyle, fitness, or even veganism. He still works on a lot of poker-related broadcast events, such as podcasts or TV shows like Game of Gold this last year, and he is still invited to comment on many of the most prestigious final tables in the world. He also expressed not too long ago his interest in writing a book on his personal and professional career, but without talking about strategy or about, just poker in general, but not strategy. He also talked about his desire to stay close to the poker industry, to continue promoting that spirit sport while still supporting innovation like he's doing with GG Poker. In conclusion, the next story is that of a man that turned his passion into a living, but he always remained true to his values. His success and contribution make him an iconic figure of the game, from his humble beginnings to his triumph on the big stage. His 2024 news shows us that he is deeply still committed to make poker great and an enjoyable game for everyone, both as an active player and an influential person in the community. He continues to participate in high-level poker tournaments, produce content on social media, and work closely with GG Poker to promote a good gaming environment. His passion for poker, paired with his desire to share knowledge and positively influence the industry, makes him a key actor in the evolution of the game. Right. Thank you guys for listening to me. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to subscribe, leave a comment, leave a like. We're trying to grow the channel. We add a French YouTube channel that you can find just right there if you speak French, mainly vlogs. We do mainly coaching and staking. We've got players all over the world. We've got guys in Miami, guys in Vegas, even one guy in Cyprus, guys in Cambodia. We coach and stake guys in live cash games all over the world. Same thing. If you're interested, we're opening back the recruitments at the beginning of the year, so we'll be glad to hear you out. Well, once again, if you enjoyed it, guys, you know what to do. Thank you for listening to me. Have a great day. See you on to the next one.